Hello, friends. Ebony here. If you have been following me on the Thyroid Warrior podcast, you know that we have been talking all about self worth, how to really and truly recognize our value, and why it's so important to just recognize the power of our bodies. And I wanted to provide you with this very brief conversation and remind you of what can happen when we allow stress from outside entities to come in and really and truly impact how we view ourselves and how we interact with the world. And really, when we think about objectives, what I want you to be able to get out of this is to understand that healthy living really encompasses three things. That is your mental and emotional health, your physical and spiritual health. So we're going to talk about this, but I want you to remember that you should always consult with your healthcare provider for your specific needs. This presentation isn't meant to diagnose or treat any type of condition, but I want to encourage you to have that conversation with your doctor. Now, let's talk about you. I want you to examine what are your current habits, whether it's around food, exercise, sleep, or self-care. And what are some of those habits that you've developed that aren't necessarily good for you? Then I want you to think about some changes. Are there any small steps that you can take to really and truly work on your wellness? And that is whether it's looking at your food, if you can get to sleep earlier, or if you can even take a break from social media, which we talked about at the beginning of the Thyroid Warrior podcast series on self-worth and self-care. And I also want you to recognize that you can ask for help, whether it's through your friends, your family, your coworkers, but ultimately you're not alone. And I want you to recognize that you have a community of people, including me, that want to rally together to help you. Then I want you to just focus on having some open dialogue with those around you about mental health. And there are so many myths out there, and you can check out mentalhealth.gov just to look at some of these myths as well. And it's really and truly important that we break down these myths. And that is from a faith perspective of if you don't have faith or enough faith in God or whatever you believe in, and also just thinking about therapy and it being a waste of time, or I'm a bad person if I take medication to help manage my anxiety or depression, or thinking that if you're on the outside of that, that you can't make an impact on someone that has mental health issues, or even that children don't experience mental health issues or depression. Remember, we're also living in a pandemic right now. So our mental health has been significantly impacted, including our children and including our pets. So I want you to recognize that your mental health can impact all facets of your life. And when you think about symptoms of stress, especially, you can have those body aches, anxiety, fatigue, and burnout, which we talked about at length on the Thyroid Warrior podcast, and just having issues connecting with people around you. And when you think about just working on getting to a better place, you want to make sure that you understand where you are. And you have to focus on, am I thinking about getting better? Am I ready to make a change? Am I taking steps to change it? Or am I maintaining that new habit? And I want you to assess, how have you been impacted by this difficult time? We know that multiple studies have shown how much living in a pandemic world has impacted us, specifically women, especially from a financial point of view. And really, it's important to me that you take that time to prioritize your mental health. And you can go to counseling, you can go to support groups, you can solicit the help of your family and friends. And I want you to recognize again that you are not alone. So how do you actually work on your mental health in addition to some of the more clinical approaches? And that's moving your body. And on average, we're supposed to get about 150 minutes of exercises per week. But even if you start small, even if you get out and start walking, for example, that can really add up. And I want you to think about engaging in an activity that just gets your heart rate pumping and moving in your body and just making you feel happy. Even if you take time to dance, even if you dance with your children, if you have them, or friends, or just turn on your favorite playlist. And if you're actually following me on Instagram, I do have a post asking you for some of your favorite songs that get you pumped up. Add to the community playlist and let's rock out together. But we also don't want to forget that we're people and we come with our own spiritual beliefs, our faith, and getting connected in that way can also provide you support. And if you pray, if you meditate, all of those things can really and truly make an impact on your health in a positive way. But I also want you to remember that you have to stay connected. Don't feel like you're in this alone. And that is really and truly why I created this resource for you. I want you to be able to focus on just understanding where your stress comes from, understanding the triggers, and understanding that you're not alone. Write it out, journal it, connect with me. You can find me at Joyful Ebony on all social media platforms. If you want to get some self-care in, you can visit my handmade body product shop at tulabeautyco.com. It is linked here, but I'm here for you. So let's do this together. Go ahead, grab that resource, and let's stay connected.